A 3-year-old looks down at an old photo of a World War II fighter plane and says, "That's the plane I flew before I crashed in the fire." What do? Sup, freaks? Paul Daniel here, your awkward software engineer, and this is NeonFreak Byte, where we tackle the topics that shake your reality. Because the weirdest things our kids say could just be the most profound truths in the universe. Today, we're diving into one of the most viral and unsettling phenomena online. Kids who seem to remember their past lives with chilling accuracy. Is this proof of reincarnation, or is there a more rational and perhaps even more disturbing explanation? You're in the right place if that intrigues you. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe. All right, let's get weird and bite this. The toddler, just barely 3 years old, is playing with a toy plane. His father watches, smiling, until the boy starts slamming the plane into the coffee table over and over. "Plane crash on fire," the boy shouts. The father tries to calm him, but the boy looks at him with an unnerving intensity and says, "Little man can't get out." Over the next few weeks, the nightmares get more specific. The boy talks about flying a Corsair, taking off from a ship called the Natoma, and names a friend who was there with him, Jack Larson. The parents, confused and a little freaked out, start researching. They discover that the USS Natoma Bay was a real World War II escort carrier. They find records of a pilot from that ship who died in a fiery crash at Iwo Jima. And they find that a reunion list, one with the name still on it, Jack Larson. This dramatized story is based on the very real and documented case of James Leininger, one of thousands that force us to ask a terrifyingly profound question. This isn't just a one-off creepy story. For over 50 years, researchers, most notably the late Dr. Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia, have documented thousands of cases just like this. We're talking about young children, usually between the ages of 2 and 7, who start spontaneously reporting memories of a past life. They often name specific people, places, and details of their death that are completely outside their normal experience. This isn't just "I was a princess." It's "I was John Smith. I lived at 123 Maple Street in Dayton, Ohio, and I died when my car crashed into a tree." And when researchers investigate, they often find that a John Smith really did die that way, at that place. Some children even have birthmarks or birth defects that uncannily correspond to the fatal wounds of the person they claim to have been. For believers, this is it. This is the closest we've ever come to scientific evidence for reincarnation. So what's the skeptical take? How does mainstream science explain away these incredibly specific and often verified details? The arguments are powerful, and in a way, just as unsettling. The leading explanations fall under a few categories. First, cryptomnesia, or hidden memories. The idea is that the child wasn't remembering a past life, but was unconsciously recalling information they were exposed to at some point from a television show playing in the background, a conversation they overheard, or a book they saw. The brain then takes these fragmented pieces of information and weaves them into a coherent but false narrative. Another explanation is suggestibility and parental influence. A child might say something vague, and the parents, perhaps unconsciously, ask leading questions or provide reinforcement that shapes the story over time, making it more detailed and specific than it originally was. The child isn't lying. They genuinely believe the memories, but those memories were built here in this life from forgotten fragments. This leaves us staring at two profound and deeply personal possibilities. On one side, you have thousands of documented cases, many with verified details that seem to defy rational explanation, all pointing towards the mind-blowing idea that consciousness is not tied to a single body, that we live and die and come back again. It would mean death isn't an end, but a transition. Now, on the other side, You have the deeply unsettling explanation that our own minds and the minds of our children are fundamentally unreliable storytellers, capable of constructing incredibly detailed, emotionally resonant memories out of thin air and implanting them with the absolute conviction of truth. So here's the choice that confronts you when you look at these cases. Which is the more reality-shaking thought? That reincarnation is real and your identity is just one in a long chain? Or that your child's and your most profound sense of self and memory can be a complete fabrication, a story the brain tells itself? We talked about that in the Mandela Effect episode too. What about xenoglossy? This is the phenomenon where people, sometimes these very same children, can allegedly speak or understand a language they have never been exposed to in their current life. How does psychology explain that? If reincarnation is real, what are the implications for justice and morality? Does karma have a literal mechanism? Are we working through debts or lessons from past lives without even knowing it? Think about child prodigies. Mozart composing at age 5, for example. Are they just genetic freaks of nature? Or could they be old souls carrying immense talent and practice over from a previous incarnation? If consciousness can transfer from one body to another, where does it go in between? Is there another realm? And what is the mechanism for this transfer? It opens up a whole new realm of physics and metaphysics that science currently has no answer for. So yeah, the idea that the sweet little kid building with Legos in the living room might be remembering his life as a World War II pilot is pretty freaky. What's your take on kids remembering their past lives? Have you ever heard a story that defied all logical explanation? Tell me in the comments. I promise I'll respond to as many of you as I can. Want more Neon? More of me? Please hit like and subscribe to the channel. I need you. Yes, you. Come join me in the freak show. Next time, we're taking a bite out of the sky trumpet phenomenon. Yeah. So, brace yourselves, stay curious, and always remember, you're a fucking freak. And in my mind, that's the best thing to be.